Yes then lads, we're back today with a solo chest and shoulder session. This is going to be a session just taking you guys through exactly what I've been doing over the past year to bring up my chest and shoulders. These for me have been weak points in the past, and this year they've come up massively. So me taking you through exactly what I've done session to session to bring up my delts and chest, and I'm also going to be bringing you through the cues as well and the things that have massively helped me bring it up. So let's get into it.
All I am is a man.
So guys, first up we're going to be doing a chest supported dumbbell lateral raise. Now at the beginning of all my push workouts at the moment, I'm doing a shoulder dominant one and a chest dominant one. So today's going to be the shoulder dominant one. So we're going to start off with a lateral raise just to drive a bit of blood into our delts. I find if we just go straight onto a press, I can't activate them as well. So this is something that I think has massively helped me bring it up. And the reason we're going to go a chest supported one as opposed to a standing or a seated is it's just the most stable variation of it. Now when we're looking at what we're trying to achieve with this movement as well, and when we're using dumbbells, I've never been a huge fan of actual dumbbell laterals, purely based on the fact that the strength curve drops off as you come down. But because this is at the start of the workout and you're going to be very strong in that shortened range, this is a good time to place this. I wouldn't put this at the end or even in the middle because you're going to be quite fatigued, but by placing this at the start, we're going to drive some blood into the shoulders, and it also means that we're going to be able to challenge your delts in that real shortened range as well. So that's what we're going to start off with. We're going to do 2 sets on this in the probably about 10 to 15 rep range.
I hate the beach, but I stand in California with my toes in the sand. Use the sleeves of my sweater, let's have an adventure. Head in the clouds, but my gravity centered. Touch my neck and I'll touch yours. You and those little...
So guys, next up we've got a Smith machine shoulder press. Now this is one of my favorite movements. The shoulders, a lot of people give the Smith machine a lot of hate. However, the reason I use a Smith as opposed to like a barbell or a dumbbell, and I do use dumbbells sometimes, is purely just based on the stability aspect. And every time I post this, people are like, but it's better if you have to stabilize things because it works just stability muscles. But you have to ask why you're actually in the gym, and if it's to build muscle, you don't want to have to worry about stabilizing everything. So using a Smith machine, we're able to just run in that normal plane. We haven't got to worry about stabilizing a bar. We haven't got to worry about lifting it out. We haven't got to worry about being in too much danger because we can just rack it. So we can bring this set to complete failure. And that, to me, is why the Smith trumps all else. And I'll probably get some shit for saying that because people hate the Smith, but Smith is king. So we're going to run 2 sets on this, one in the 6 to 9, and then one in the 10 to 12. So guys, 2 sets done on that. That was a 6 to 9. I think I actually got 5 on the first set, and then a 10 to 12. What you'll notice when I'm doing a shoulder press as well is, as opposed to coming out here like a lot of people do, I keep my elbows tucked in. Now when you're looking at training that front delt, which is primarily what we're trying to target in a shoulder presser movement, your delt is going to run from down here, so that's the fully lengthened position, all the way up into the fully shortened position there. So when you put your arm out here and you come down, you're really limiting that range of motion. So when you jump on a bit of kit like this, just tuck your elbows in a little bit and bring it fully down, and you're going to get so much more out of that movement. You'll notice as well, guys, that every exercise I'm doing multiple warm-up sets. So those sets that you've been seeing on the shoulder press and even on the lateral raises, like right now, this is just a warm-up set. Like, we train for performance. So I want to make sure that when I go into those 2 top sets, because like I said, we're only doing 1, 2, max 3 sets per exercise, I want to make sure that I can go into them in the most ready state that I can. So if I was to come in and, for example, let's say I'm running like the 50 kilo dumbbells for this, if I was just to come in and pick up those 50s, 1, I'm at risk of injury, 2, it's going to feel a bit unnatural because it's the first time I've done this movement in a week, and 3, it's going to feel fucking heavy. But if I'm able to work my way up, so I've got the 27s, I'll probably jump up to like the 40s for a couple of reps, and then I go into the 50s. 1, I've gone through that movement pattern multiple times, so I'm going to feel really ready to go. 2, I've jumped up those weight barriers, so the 50 is going to feel a lot less heavy. And 3, I'm going to be a lot less risk of injury. Just make sure that you're not fatiguing yourself in these warm-up sets. You notice I'll literally do a couple of reps, and that'll be it. So this, guys, is going to be obviously our first chest compound. So you notice we've gone through the shoulder isolation movement, which is a lateral raise, which I'm going to do another one on in a little bit. We can hold a lot of volume in our delts, so that's why we chuck a little bit more in a bit. We've then gone for a Smith machine shoulder press, which, like I said, this is going to be a shoulder dominant push day. So we're really trying to emphasize the shoulders. Chest is getting tagged in, but we're also trying to bring that up. Next, we're going on to obviously our chest compound. So the shoulder press, and then this is going to be like your big bang for the buck movements, and we've got the accessory work around it as well. So we're, once again, 2 sets on this, 6 to 9, 10 to 12, so we're working across 2 rep ranges. And the way you kind of want to run it is track your lifts week to week. And for example, if I'm going to probably run the 47s. It might feel heavy, I don't really know. But let's say I fall in that 6 to 9 rep range. Next week I'll come in and I'll try to beat that number. Because I know if I can beat that number, I'm going to grow. I've done something I've not done. And when I get to the top of that rep range, so let's say 9 reps, I'll increase the weight, which will knock me back down in reps, and I can work my way back up. So it's a way you can ensure consistent progression week to week. And if I was doing 4 sets per exercise, there's absolutely no way I'd do that, because you're taking away from the performance then just to add unnecessary volume. So that's why we're just doing the 2 sets per exercise. Guys, next up we're going to be doing a flat chest press. Now, this is a hammer strength variation. If you've got some gyms will have a better variation than this, and the reason being is when you look at a strength profile of something like this and looking at the position of the workout that we're in now, this probably isn't the best choice. So if you can go for something with more even strength curve, it's going to be better. The reason being is the deeper we get through the workout, the harder it is to get short. So obviously this is your chest in the lengthened position. That's your chest in the shortened position there. And you'll notice when you go on to something like this hammer strength kit, as you push forward, it gets harder in that position, particularly the further you go into the workout. So it leverages up. So if you're able to get something which is a more even strength curve, so like arguably if I went back to the Smith machine and I was to do like a flat Smith press here, it may be a better choice as opposed to doing something like this, but I've already been on the Smith and I fancy doing this. But if you have something where you can just keep that strength curve even, maybe you've got a better chest press, then go for that. Or place this slightly further forward in the workout. Get a bit heavier than that. Wait! So I'm using these, and you shouldn't use these, but if you can just pop some in there, it's going to give you the ability to not have to go into that overreach position just to get the press out. Get yourself a set of blocks. Don't use these, but it's just a top tip when you're on any piece of kit like this. Right, so here we go. Once again, guys, 2 sets, 6 to 9, 10 to 12. So that's 6 sets total across our compounds. You as an individual might need more or less sets. Okay, so but start with 2 sets, and if you feel like you can recover well from it, add a third.
Anakin's gone. I am what remains.
I wanna feel you. I want it all. I wanna feel you. I want it all.
So guys, next up we're going to do a single arm cable lateral raise with a bit of a twist. So a lot of you will, when you run these, straight from the bottom with a handle, but I'm going to kind of talk through what I think has been a huge part of my delt development this year. And it's picking 1, exercises that work well with me. So this, for example, is an exercise I can connect well with. And then 2, actually just thinking about the setup and what we're trying to achieve in the exercise. Now, just like the dumbbell lateral raise, like I said, we're going to put that at the start because the strength curve drops off if we come down. So we're able to load it in that shortened position. We're now going to be quite weak in that shortened position. So we're going to try and load it in the lengthened position. So down here, it's going to be the primary focus of this movement. So we know, well, I know, I'm telling you guys, that it's going to be heaviest, the load is going to be heaviest when the cable is at a 90-degree path to my arm here. So the way that we're going to set it up is so the cable's about there. So I go just about knee height. And this is going to allow me to fully load it here. And as I come up here, it's actually going to drop off ever so slightly. So it's going to get easier slightly as the movement comes on. So you want to set this up probably about knee height. In regards to if you have got a cuff, this once again is going to take the movement up a level as opposed to just using a handle. One, because it's going to take away the grip, and two, it just means that you can focus on just driving up. Now, the last cue that you want to think about here is just making sure that obviously we're trying to focus your lateral delt, the side delt, so just make sure you keep that on the top of the plane at all times. What I mean by that is if you're someone who's bending over and going like that, that's going to hit your rear delt, and if you were just going like this, it's going to hit your front delt. So drive with your elbows and keep that lateral delt on the top of your shoulder at all times. But we're going to run 3 sets of this. Definitely handle a little bit more volume than your pressing movements, and your lateral delts, or your delts in general, can just handle a hell of a lot of volume. So it's worth adding the extra little bit in here. We'll do one quick warm up and then we'll get straight in. So guys, last exercise of the day is going to be a chest fly, and I'd usually do a little bit of triceps at the end, but recently I've been giving arms its own day because I'm trying to bring the arms up as well. I'm very bottom heavy, so at the moment for me the main focus has been chest and shoulders because that was always my lagging point, which are now starting to come up, but my arms are still lagging a little bit. So I find that just tagging that on the end of a day like this, it's something, but it's not enough. So I'm going to finish this one here, and this allows me to put a little bit more volume into the chest and shoulders on a day like this as well. So we're going to do 3 sets on the pec deck, all in the 10 to 15 rep range. Currently I'm dieting, as you guys would know if you follow me on the gram, down about 5-6 kilo at the minute. But the workout that I'm showing you at the moment, you want to make sure that you're in an off season if you're trying to bring a body part up, because to build muscle we need to be in a calorie surplus. So I'm going to pop on the screen now 2 videos, one which is going to be a full day of eating in a building phase, so you can see exactly what I eat on a day-to-day basis to build muscle. And I'm also going to put on a more relatively regular I'm also going to put on a more up-to-date version of my diet, which is going to be for dieting. So depending on whatever phase you're in right now, click on one of those videos, give that a watch. If you haven't already, guys, hit the subscribe button, click like. If you enjoyed the video, guys, make sure you hit the like button, comment, and if you haven't already, then make sure you hit the subscribe button, as it helps the channel grow and it means that you'll never miss another video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.